Coming up on the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast, an Evansville success story continues to grow. A newly launched nonprofit looks to boost talent attraction efforts in Northeast Indiana. A partnership between Ivy Tech and Vincennes targets workforce challenges. Republic Airways takes an innovative approach to building a pilot pipeline. An England-based superfast car maker makes a home in Indiana. And a look at 5 hot trends in site selection. Welcome to the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast. I'm Andy Ober. $70 million plans for Evansville-based Berry Global Group to expand its manufacturing operations are moving forward. Berry says the project will add new plastic packaging production lines at its downtown facility and result in about 150 new jobs. CEO Tom Salmon joined Inside Indiana Business host Gary Dick to talk about the growth.
Berry Global, as I mentioned, 50 plus years now in business, headquartered in Indiana. Fascinating company, global footprint, and very diverse as well.
No doubt about it. We're blessed. We're in the Fortune 400 right now in terms of our rankings in U.S.-based companies. Thrilled to have our roots in Southwest Indiana and Evansville, where we, as you said, we celebrate our 50th anniversary last summer.
Yeah. Talk about that diversity of products. Plastics manufacturer,
Sure.
Traditional manufacturer, but you touch consumer products in so many different areas.
Yeah, we like to say we make products that people make and consume every single day. We're a diversified manufacturer for both consumers as well as professionals alike. Everything from plastics production in terms of foods, non-foods, prescription drugs and such, to our engineering materials business, which makes tapes, as well as reinforcement sheeting, as well as shrink and stretch films for transportation of goods and services. We're a very diverse company. Then we take you all the way down to nonwovens, which is everything from the manufacture of baby diapers to dryer sheets to surgical drapes for surgery. So a very diverse platform.
Yeah, fascinating. You're driving some very positive numbers, second quarter numbers recently out, record quarterly net sales. You had a nice bump in net income. What's driving?
Listen, we're a inquisitive company. We're a company that's a product of acquisitions. Done over 40 acquisitions in the time that we've been in business. Wow. It's a core competency of Berry, both that as well as marrying it with unmet customer needs in terms of organic growth. The company continues to grow and morph in size, and we expect that change to continue to transpire over the next several years as we continue to be inquisitive around acquisitions.
That growth is good for Indiana, in particular Southwest Indiana. You're in the process now of a $70 million expansion downtown, and that's going to mean new jobs.
Yeah, we're very excited about that. Evansville is really the cornerstone of our company in terms of size and profitability. So we're excited to reinvest in that core region for us. Our people are terrific down there. We had great participation with local government and all the growth support networks that we have in the area to encourage us to make this investment. We're thrilled about it. 150 jobs between now and 2020. We're in the process of filling those roles, and it supports a growing food service business for us. Yeah,
150 jobs. You're in the process of hiring now. Do you find a lot of manufacturers, a lot of people across all sectors finding it challenging to find good workers?
Yeah, it's a fair point. We've got to be competitive in the markets that we serve, but we also have to give people the opportunity to know what the career opportunities are in Berry. With 135 sites around the world, with the diverse manufacturing base that we have, the career possibilities are limitless for our people, whether it's back office, engineering, or traditional manufacturing roles. So please take a look on berryglobal.com because we have tons of positions posted right now.
Talk about doing business in Indiana as a major global manufacturer, the state of the economy in Indiana, just doing business in general in the state.
Yeah, I'd say business is open in Indiana. You're seeing that kind of theme from the governor all the way down to the local municipalities. Mayor Winnicky was very impassioned in terms of supporting our investment in the Evansville area. We've always gotten great support from the local communities in the state, and that's important. That's important to have that collaboration between local government, city and state government, and ultimately the manufacturer who's going to make an investment in the area. They want that commitment from the local constituents.
As we wrap up in terms of looking forward, continue on that acquisition mode, what's next for Berry?
Yeah, we'll continue to be inquisitive. We're blessed to be in markets that have a lot of fragmentation. It's something that we do well. We'll also match that with what we do around organic growth, which is we're looking to meet the unmet needs from our end customer, translate those into solutions, and sell them in the marketplace. And that's the key to our success, and I think the roots of our company.
Tom Salmon is the CEO at Berry Global, based in Evansville, has been for more than 50 years now and continuing to grow. Tom, thanks for joining us.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Still to come, beefing up talent attraction in a key region in Indiana, and 2 colleges work together to address workforce development. But first, InnovateMap bills itself as a digital product agency that helps entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs dream, design, and deliver digital products and services. It was founded in 2014 and has been in Broad Ripple since its early days at the Speakeasy to its new headquarters today. CEO Mike Reynolds came in studio to discuss the company's story.
Congratulations on the growth. First of all, InnovateMap is a digital product agency. When you say that, what does that mean?
So, digital product agency, we're focused on helping companies dream, design, and deliver to market better digital products and services. So digital products could be application, a B2B SaaS, e-commerce, an app, things like that. So very much focused on that. 4 years in business. How did it develop? Yeah, I've been in the digital products for 20 years. I'm a passionate product professional by trade. So very much
a Primo,
with
right?
a Primo. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had an executive role in the product team there. So very much saw the mega trend of actually focusing on companies that focus on the product traits, really differentiate themselves. So we'll work with executives and technology teams, and seeing gap in the market, we formed InnovateMap roughly 4 years ago to help the tech scene and others build a better product. For those who don't, many are familiar with what you do, but for those who don't, give us an example of how you would interact with a client and getting a product, maybe product to market. Yeah, so we're focused on the innovation and business-minded design side of the tech community. And so for a tech company, that is a differentiating piece. So our value prop is we talk about a better product is marketable, it sells, it's valuable, it solves the problem it intended to solve, and it's usable. So a company will come to us obviously with a vision or an idea, typically with executive team and engineering talent, but maybe not able to have full excellence in an A caliber product team. We'll fill the gaps for tech startups. We may even play that virtual product team for a while to really help them think through things like the pitch deck, telling the story, how their products represent on the site, the design of it, the right winning features, how it's equipping sales with great product marketing, positioning, sales tools, and so forth. Yeah, you, as mentioned earlier, just moved into some new headquarters. Yes. Exciting in Broad Ripple, and it's space that really, I think, probably creates a culture about the company. Yeah, without question, very important. So the physical space to what we do is essential. It needs to be very inspiring, better ideas. Needs to inspire as well collaboration and foster that very well. A lot of our clients come to us, it's great, whether it be a non-tech company or a startup, and they'll collaborate with us. And so this space, pretty excited about, key piece of how we do what we do. You talk about clients. You've got a diverse client base. What I think is interesting in your growth, too, is obviously you're working with tech companies, but increasingly you're getting business from those non-tech companies. Yeah, so the tech community, they certainly know already the value of the design and the product skills. And so, tech startups, tech scale-ups, a lot of them will start with us. But the non-tech companies are starting to realize that digital transformation is a key thing they should be worried about. Yep. So they've started, that's been a great thing for our business, is anyone wanting to value this skill set, bring that new idea to life to either digitally transform their company or have a digital complement to their core business. A lot of those ideas we're helping that community as well. Very quick, 10 seconds, but you're talking about tech momentum here in Indiana and how that's affecting your business. Tech scene is phenomenal. I think when we started this, we certainly saw a need in the tech scene in Indianapolis. For the moment, nearly most of our clients are Indiana. It's incredible. I think when we started, I would have described having about 200 tech companies. There's over 500 now. We're honored to be a part of that, hoping to actually help some of those even reach their outcomes. Very good. Mike Reynolds is the CEO at InnovateMap. Mike, congrats on the growth, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon. Sounds great. Thank you.
Later in the podcast, Ivy Tech and Vincennes announce a new partnership, and an Indiana-based airline takes training in-house. But now, a newly launched nonprofit in Fort Wayne aims to expand talent attraction efforts in Northeast Indiana. Northeast Indiana talent attraction founder Lynn Reeser joined the show to talk about what the organization believes is the missing component in bringing more top talent to the region.
Let's talk about the organization. This whole talent issue is huge and has been for a long time in Indiana. Talk about how you came up with this idea to do this, because it really goes back many years ago to when you and your husband moved to Fort Wayne, and it's somewhat reluctantly, right? You love it there now, but it was that process.
Yes, I was living here in Indianapolis, in Zionsville at the time, and then when my husband got a job offer up there, and wanted to take it. I really didn't want to go and leave Indianapolis. And what I learned, though, during that time was that if something would have been done for me, the trailing spouse, I would have been much more receptive to it. And then once I got there, I just had to find my way around on my own. But within about a year, I was in love with the whole area.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about your model, Fort Wayne Talent Attraction Inc., a nonprofit. How it works, because what you're offering to companies is to take prospective employers around, but really give them not a template tour, if you will, but a very personalized tour.
Yes, it's very much like almost like a concierge service. So the process and the way it works is the HR department calls us immediately when they have a candidate coming, and the sooner we can meet them, the better. It's better if we meet them before they even meet for the job interview. We will even pick them up at the airport. And then before that, though, we have interviewed them over the phone extensively. We spend about 30 minutes on the phone, and they actually love that part. They love telling us about their family and their kids and what their interests are. So it's a very in-depth interview, so that when they do arrive, we are showing them what they really care about.
And you, as you mentioned, important you feel to do this even before they do the job interview with the company.
I do, and what we'll even do if we're contacted soon enough, we even mail them a whole package of information on the city and all the things again that have to do with their lifestyle.
Okay, it's gaining traction. Now talk about any success stories, or talk about some of the reaction that you're getting to these specialized services.
Oh, people are real believers. So we started doing it in 2010 when I started the real estate company that I have, Research Properties, and because I knew back when I was fundraising in another not-for-profit, I heard over and over again how it was so tough to recruit people to Northeast Indiana, but yet I knew it shouldn't be that tough. So to begin with,
Yeah, well, it was an outgrowth of the real estate company.
Exactly. So when I started the real estate company, I knew from previous experience fundraising that people were having a very tough time recruiting individuals. So right away, before I even had my real estate license, I called myself a recruiting specialist, and I pitched the idea to a physician who had a group of radiation oncologists in Fort Wayne, and I asked him how it was going there with recruiting, and he said terrible. That the year before, with that season of fellows that finished the program, they got nobody because they only put out 100 in the whole country. So I said, would you let me experiment and try this method with your group? And we did, and we only had to bring in 3 people, and they got 2 out of they got their 2 top choices.
Yeah, real impact. Lynn Reeser is the founder of Northeast Indiana Talent Attraction, Inc. Having impact in Northeast Indiana, we'll be following your success and progress. We look forward to having you back on the show.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Remember, you can catch Inside Indiana Business Television on stations throughout the state every weekend. Head to InsideIndianaBusiness.com to check listings. Still to come, a new approach to strengthen the pipeline of pilots, and an English company is making super-fast cars in West Lafayette. But first, Ivy Tech and Vincennes University have announced a new partnership to create what they call a simpler, cheaper pathway for students in high-demand careers. It aims in part to fill a need in the homeland security and public safety industries. Ivy Tech President Sue Elsperman and Vincennes President Chuck Johnson joined us with more.
This is a brand new partnership just being announced. Sue, I'll start with you as you talk about this partnership, and it's very focused on these homeland security, cybersecurity type jobs.
Right. So I think both of our institutions understand the huge need that is out there to serve Indiana, and particularly central Indiana. And Ivy Tech, we have a lot of associate degrees. In fact, this partnership, it'll be criminal justice, homeland security, legal studies, cybersecurity, information technology support, and informatics, all associate degrees which will transfer seamlessly into a Vincennes Homeland Security and Public Safety bachelor's degree from our site. In Lawrence.
And that's key.
That's key. It is key. The students we both serve are often home-based. They have jobs, families that keep them there, and we want them to be able to get that bachelor's degree. This is really exciting because they can do it from one site, working with two institutions seamlessly and very affordably, as both of our institutions are very, very affordable and meet that important employer's need.
Yeah, and Chuck, again, a very focused program, and again, focused on not only high demand, but these are good paying jobs, pay above the state.
Great opportunities, and more than ever, Homeland Security, cybersecurity is such an important need for our country, for our state, and we know that that's an area that we're going to continue to build on.
And as part of this, too, with two institutions involved, I think a key part is this integrated advising that's going to go on.
Yes, it's important, I think, for the students to not feel like they're just being dropped off on the doorstep of Vincennes University. So we'll work together, as we have been, to try to develop a seamless approach so the students don't kind of stand there dangling, waiting for something else to happen. We work with them to recruit them. We work with them to give the information as they're at Ivy Tech and they express interest, and then we make sure that they get handed off appropriately.
I'd like both of your thoughts on this, but there's talk of this new era of cooperation, if you will, between two great institutions here, statewide institutions. How important is this? Is this the beginning of maybe...
It's incredibly important. We both serve an associate space, but Vincennes has special areas of bachelor's degrees, and we're in that affordable space. The General Assembly invests tremendously in us. It's incumbent on us to create as many partnerships and opportunities to leverage what we have, what Vincennes has, and then take that out to meet the employer's demand, this ever-growing demand. We have more than any of us can do, so we need not to step on each other's toes as institutions. We really need to find these areas of synergy, and I couldn't be more thrilled than Vincennes' partnership on this, and hope that we can have some more in the future.
Sets the stage for future collaboration?
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of opportunities for us to build on this, to do other programs in other areas, other academic programs, other training opportunities, meeting industry needs.
Yeah, very good. This is a brand new partnership between Ivy Tech and Vincennes University. It will get workforce into some of these key areas like Homeland Security and cybersecurity as well. We'll be hearing a lot more about it, I know, in the coming weeks and months. Sue Elsperman from Ivy Tech Community College, Chuck Johnson from Vincennes. Thank you both very much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Later in the podcast, supercar production comes to Purdue's Discovery Park District, and a look at the top trends in site selection. But now, Indianapolis-based Republic Airways Holdings is launching the Lift Academy at Indianapolis International Airport and adding hundreds of jobs. The facility aims to address the growing need for commercial pilots. Senior Vice President Matt Koskell discusses the effort in our Eye on Education segment.
Major announcement, major investment by Republic Airways in this training center. First of all, before we get into the details, talk about kind of the market dynamics out there and the need, the demand, and the potential shortage that's looming regarding pilots.
Yeah, we're actually just at the beginning of the shortage. We're short today, several hundred pilots, and we're a smaller airline. We have 500 fewer jobs in Indiana today than we did a few years ago because of this shortage. And the demand is only going to get increasingly more dramatic. Over the next decade, there's going to be 40,000 forced retirements in the aviation industry due to regulatory mandatory age 65 retirements. And quite frankly, we're just not attracting enough individuals to the industry to fill that gap. And we needed to come up with a solution that was bold and that overcame the barriers to entry that exist today to get more aspiring pilots into the market.
Let's talk about this training academy. As I mentioned, the largest of its kind in the country. A very intentional decision by Republic to attack this pilot shortage. Talk about the unique aspects of this facility.
Yeah, so first and foremost, it's going to be here at Indianapolis International Airport, very close to our main Part 121 commercial operations. And that will allow us to train aviators to the competencies that we need as a commercial airline. Today when individuals go into training programs, they could be training for a wide variety of aviation careers. But the skill sets that we need, the competencies, both technically and from a leadership standpoint, are much different in Republic's operations. And being able to train individuals from their first hour of flight to be ready to step into the cockpit of a commercial airliner is a unique proposition that we're going to bring to students here in Indianapolis. The second thing is we're going to address affordability. A lot of students don't have access to the funds to actually finance a flight training program. And the first thing we did was we knocked down the cost. This is something that we're not going to generate a profit off of. We're investing in this to generate the next workforce for our airline in the state of Indiana. So we'll deliver training at a cost that's significantly less than anyone else out there in the market. We'll also make sure that any individual who has the skill and the will to be in the cockpit has access to financing and line up that financing for them.
Well, let's talk about your potential pool of students, because there are several kind of buckets, if you will, of from former military on down who could be students at this academy.
No, you're exactly right. So, starting with the men and women who serve our country, and then come back looking for what's that next step in their career after serving us and that sacrifice. Aviation and the flight cockpit is a great place for them to look if they've got the competencies and the desire. And we'll be able to present a program that in 2 years puts them into the commercial flight seat of the Republic Airways jet. And we'll be able to do that at a very affordable cost with sponsorship available for all those candidates. We also look at folks who are underemployed today and individuals looking at career changes. This is a great opportunity for those individuals looking at the next step in their career to consider aviation. And then lastly, the population that we really need to get interested in aviation is our future generation. Yeah. There's not enough investment in high schools and into elementary schools to get them interested in a career in aviation, and we'll make those investments as well as opening up the door to access for funding and access.
Vincennes University President Chuck Johnson was on an earlier segment on the show this week, and I know Vincennes is a key partner continues to be a key partner with the airline, right?
They are. We've got a decade-long relationship with Vincennes, and they're great partners and they're leaders in aviation technology training. And we just announced today at our press event that we're strengthening that relationship, and we're going to enter into a long-term exclusive relationship with Vincennes, where Vincennes flight students beginning next year will be able to train at Lift Academy, and Lift Academy students will be able to access Vincennes to supplement and augment their Lift certificate with a associate's degree from Vincennes.
Major news, and again, one more aspect of the state's growing aviation focus in the state. Matt Koskell is Senior VP with Republic Airways Holdings. A brand new training academy will lift off this fall, correct?
This fall, September is the first class. Enrollment is open. We're taking applications online, and we look forward to coming back and talking about the progress in the future months.
We'll look forward to it as well, Matt. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Still to come, 5 hot trends in site selection. But first, England-based Keating Supercars has begun work at its carmaker space at Purdue's Discovery Park District in West Lafayette. The company is making the Viperia Barris Coupe there, which it says is the fastest street-legal vehicle in the U.S. Purdue chemical engineering professor Jim Carruthers joined Bill Benner in Inside Indiana Sports.
This is pretty incredible. How did Keating and Purdue find each other?
Well, we run a large STEM program across the state where students, both collegiate and high school students, build electric go-karts, and then we take them down to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to race. Provides a great way to pull young folks into the STEM arena. And the folks at Bolton University in England saw this and they said, hey, we'd like to do the same program over there in England. And one of the trustees of Bolton University is Tony Keating. And he came over and says, wow, this is great for both education, but he'd also like to build the Barus here, just like he's building in Manchester, England.
And just for a little quick background, the go-kart program, that's really filtering down into the high schools, and you had about, I believe it was around poll day, you had about 30 teams coming in from high schools around the state to race go-karts at the Speedway.
Yes, we did. We had about 30 teams of young people. My guess is next year we'll have over 100. What President Miss Jangels has told me that he'd like a go-kart in every high school in the state. So that's where we're heading. What is really exciting about that is these kids were so engaged in building their go-karts that you didn't see cell phones out. So it's a great way to grab a hold of young folks.
All right, from go-karts now to 240-mile-an-hour street-legal cars. I mean, and these are going to sell for anywhere from $180,000 to $230,000. And but who are the buyers for these, and where are they going to drive them? Not around West Lafayette.
Well, we'll see who drives around West Lafayette. There may be a few, hopefully at a little bit lower speeds. There are buyers for these sorts of cars in the U.S. Keating is going to produce the left-hand drive vehicles here, both for the U.S. and for Asia. And amazingly, there are a significant number of folks with that sort of financial resources and that interest to have the fastest car.
And really a special aspect of this is that $30,000 from the sale of each car will go to STEM education. And so again, the overarching goal is to help students in Indiana, students at Purdue really get involved in a very vital part of the Indiana economy, manufacturing.
That is correct. I mean, our issue is to first give Purdue students an opportunity to build first go-karts and then move on to really performance vehicles like the Keating supercar, and then also to work with high school students to provide them a good background for STEM that leads to manufacturing, which will help Indiana industry.
Jim, talk about the timetable. You expect to be fully in production by the fall semester?
Well, Keating's, that's his plan. Sometime this fall, we'll start to produce the first Barus in Indiana. So there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of things to happen, but that's his plan.
And this was from ground up. I mean, parts. The engines are already there, but this is you're building them from ground up.
It's a U.S. product. The engines are legacy Chevy engines, and then the rest of the parts will be manufactured here in the States. A lot of them in Indiana. We will take advantage of the IndyCar industry that is here, and it gives something for a lot of those folks to do when they're not racing Indy cars.
And the initial response from Purdue students has been pretty strong.
Well, we assembled the car in probably about 5 days from parts, which is just amazing. But we had young folks that were in there, and they were working 24/7 to make this happen, and they were just happy as you could be.
As we sign off, if you want to learn more,
If you want to learn about the go-kart program, go to evgrandprix.org, and there's a place there you can contact us, and if you want interest about the Keating supercar, just put it there as well, and we'll respond to you.
All right, and remember our speed limit is 70 here in the state of Indiana.
And finally this week, what should companies be paying attention to when it comes to making location decisions? This month's Eye on Economic Development segment takes a look at 5 trends in site selection with KSM Location Advisor CEO Tim Cook and President Katie Culp.
The trends today, I guess, different than maybe they would have been 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's changed a lot since when I came into the business 20 years ago. What was it for you, 1,000 years ago?
Yeah, something like that. Thank you.
No problem. But, the trends have changed a whole lot. Technology is part of that, but so has the sophistication of the group and the issues they're focused on.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's start some of these trends. And one that some might say surprising, I think it's kind of obvious. You hear a lot about it, these social issues that have really popped up.
Yeah, and I think probably about 10 or so years ago, clients started asking pretty innocuous questions like, okay, well, is there a new governor in that state? Or is the political party, is it the legislature and the executive branch covered by the same party? Just to know if they were going to step into any sort of pitfalls. Mm-hmm. But we can see with Amazon and some of these others that specific social issues are something, sometimes companies have an opinion on them, but more often than not, they just want to be aware if the issue's out there and if it's something from a PR standpoint that they need to be cognizant of through the process.
Yeah, and when we saw the issue here a couple of years ago, and the impact, not only you mix social issues with social media, and the attention that was thrust upon Indiana.
Yeah, and there's an immediacy now that when a social issue comes to the surface, everyone knows about it right away. And as Katie mentioned, that's something that our clients are paying attention to as part of site selection.
Yep. So, okay, social issues. Another big issue, obviously, labor availability, unemployment, this whole workforce issue. And I guess Indiana is not unique in that.
We're not unique. I think the key will be how do we tackle that issue. Every state right now has a talent initiative, but what do we do to distinguish ourselves and show that we're helping clients solve that problem? Because with unemployment at 3%, it is a issue with every big city and every state.
Yeah, and is that the key there? As you mentioned, everyone's facing this issue, but how states and regions, localities deal with or seem to be dealing with these issues are going to be key for site selection.
Yeah, how do we partner with communities, with states, with employment groups to solve some of these problems? Because if I'm a company that's going to hire 200 to 250 people over the next 3 to 5 years, will I be able to find the talent that I need over that period of time?
Yeah.
And certainly at different economic cycle turns, there have been markets where, oh gosh, that would be a good city nationally to locate to because they've got labor availability. I mean, nobody has it anywhere. So I think that's why the answer to what specifically are you doing as a state or community to address this issue, having an answer to that question is really important. The deer in headlights stare is not so comforting.
Not good. Number 3 on the list of hot trends in site selection, public transportation and airport accessibility.
This is a huge issue. And, transportation, airport accessibility always has to some degree. I think what has changed is really more the importance on the list. So it's always been a factor of consideration, but it's very prominent now. Companies want to know how many direct flights internationally and domestically that we have, if there's a corporate headquarters in proximity to that. It's not just the niceness of the airport, which we certainly have an amazing one, but kind of the details beneath it. There's good news to celebrate, but there's work to be done too.
Yeah, and Tim, as we were talking off camera, the state's first transcontinental nonstop, the Indy to Paris flight, big news and positive news for Indiana, but pressure is on in a way that this flight be a success, right?
Yes. I mean, when we had the direct flight to San Francisco, had a lot of success with that. That was a big feather in our cap. We have to make sure this flight to Paris is successful because I think if it's not, it will put a spotlight on us whether or not we're able to really expand beyond just, continental flights.
Yeah, and in terms of the public transportation piece, increasingly, you see this as a really important when you talk about public transportation, or the fact that many young people and millennials and those folks don't necessarily want to have a car, right? They want to be able to walk to work or bike to work or take public transit.
Yeah, I mean, like when Katie and I came out of college, we just assumed we were going to drive wherever we were going to work. But nowadays, with people that we're hiring or with our clients that are hiring, it is a big deal. How much trouble is it going to be for me to get from where I live to where I work? And it's a common issue with so many of our clients now.
It's also forced us to become more sophisticated in our data analytics because our clients now want to know, okay, if they pick Indianapolis as where they want to land, where's the concentration of workers that they want? We really have to drill down to find that, and that is driving a lot of their location decisions in a way it didn't previously. And even issues like congestion, that's even coming into play. So if for-car accessibility, does the local infrastructure support it? We were working on an assignment recently where Nashville, Tennessee, and Atlanta got taken out of the running because the congestion, the infrastructure just hasn't caught up there yet. And so I think we're pretty good from that standpoint, but something to be mindful of.
You're right. You talk about analytics, number 4 on the list, availability of viable sites. I would assume that's always been an issue, but with data and analytics and so much information out there, probably underscores it.
Well, now all CEO has to do is read one article, and then they can start talking about water lines and all these complicated. So we have to be on our A game, and so do economic development officials.
Yeah. Final one on the list, number 5 in the top, or the hot 5, quality of life. And we hear a lot about it, but I guess it's communities and regions and states that are really addressing things that make a difference.
It goes back to this talent attraction issue. And do you have some amenities where you work, where you live that are going to be appealing? And I think it's always been something that's been important in communities, but nowadays with companies making site selection decisions, I think it's a key thing that they look at.
And not just to one population, right? Not just the millennials or the boomers. It's like you've got to have a quality of life that appeals to a broad spectrum of ages and socioeconomic demographics.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very good. Some great information, the 5 hot trends in site selection. Tim Cook and Katie Culp, as always, thanks for joining us with some great perspective.
Thanks, Gary.
All right.
That wraps up this week's Inside Indiana Business television podcast. Remember, you can find all of this week's TV segments, as well as the top business news from throughout the state, at InsideIndianaBusiness.com. While you're there, you can also subscribe to our platform of free e-newsletters. This is Andy Ober for Inside Indiana Business.